I realized my wife was planning for divorce, but I shifted my assets first before she could do that. My name is Adrian Brooks, and what started as protecting $14.2 million from a divorce turned into uncovering the biggest betrayal of my life. 25 years building Brooks Construction from nothing, and my family was systematically planning to take everything. See, when you discover your wife meeting with divorce lawyers, you think you know what you're dealing with. But this story has more layers than a skyscraper foundation, and each one goes deeper into family secrets I never saw coming. If you're listening from California and know what community property means, drop California in the comments. I'll explain why that became the key to everything, and hit subscribe, because sometimes protecting your assets means discovering who your real family actually is. It was 3:30 p.m. on a Tuesday when I saw my wife walk into Kensington Law Office. I'd been stuck in traffic, running late for a city planning meeting, when I spotted her silver BMW in the parking lot. Divorce lawyers don't handle construction permits. My stomach dropped like a concrete block off a crane. I sat in my truck, engine running, watching through the glass doors. Iris was shaking hands with a man in an expensive suit, sliding him what looked like a check. A big one. I should have driven away, should have confronted her right there. Instead, I waited. 25 years of marriage teaches you patience, even when your world is cracking apart. That's when I saw Miles step out of the elevator, straightening his tie like he owned the place. My son, my only son, the kid I'd been grooming to take over the company since he was 12 years old. And then I realized this wasn't just a divorce consultation. Let me back up. Brooks Construction and Development didn't happen overnight. Started in my garage in 1999 with a $5,000 loan from my dad and a dream to build something that mattered. Iris was pregnant with Miles then, working as a marketing coordinator, believing in us when the bank wouldn't. Those early years were brutal. 16-hour days, ramen dinners, choosing between groceries and gas money. But we built it together. Every foundation poured, every permit filed, every client meeting. Iris was there. When Maya came along 6 years later, Iris stepped back from her career to focus on family. Someone needs to be home, she said. You build the business, I'll build the family. By 2010, we were pulling in $2 million a year. By 2015, $5 million. Miles joined the company after USC, MBA in hand, full of ideas about efficiency and modernization. Maya chose accounting, got her CPA, stayed an independent. Different kids, different paths. I respected that. The money changed things, of course. Bigger house in the hills, private schools. Iris discovered charity galas and wine tastings. Miles developed expensive tastes, designer suits, luxury cars, cryptocurrency investments. I didn't mind. We'd earned it. Success was supposed to trickle down to family. Our total assets hit $14.2 million last year. The company valuation reached $18 million. I'd created generational wealth, legacy money, the kind of foundation that could support grandchildren I'd never meet. I trusted them with everything: company decisions, financial planning, succession strategy. Miles was VP of operations, learning the business from the ground up. Iris managed our personal investments and social obligations. Maya offered accounting advice when we needed it, though she kept her independence. 25 years of marriage, 2 children were raised, a business empire built from nothing, community property state, which meant Iris legally owned half of everything we'd accumulated during marriage. In California, that's how it works. Your spouse becomes your automatic 50% partner, whether they swung a hammer or not. I thought that was fair. I thought trust was earned through time and sacrifice. I thought family meant something permanent. But 22 years after starting with nothing, I was about to learn how quickly everything could disappear. That night, I couldn't sleep. Kept replaying the image of Miles and Iris at that law office, the way they moved together like co-conspirators. I'd always been methodical. Contractor's habit. You measure twice, cut once. You verify everything before you build. So I started investigating my own family. Wednesday morning, I bought a digital recorder for $89. Basic model, voice-activated, 8-hour battery. the kind private investigators use. Felt dirty doing it, but something in my gut said this was bigger than a simple divorce consultation. Thursday, I followed Miles to lunch. He met someone at Pacific Bay Restaurant. Guy in his 40s, suit that cost more than most people's monthly salary. They talked for 90 minutes. I couldn't hear the conversation, but Miles handed over a manila envelope. The other guy counted what looked like cash. That evening, I installed the recorder under Iris's BMW. California's a one-party consent state for recordings, but this felt gray area. Desperate times, desperate measures. Friday night, Iris said she was going to book club. I'd heard this story for 6 months. Weekly meetings, discussing literature, wine, and friendship. Except the recorder told a different story. The papers are ready, Iris said, her voice clear as crystal. Adrian won't see it coming. Good, replied a male voice I didn't recognize. Timing is everything. We file Monday, freeze the assets Tuesday. By Wednesday, he'll be scrambling to protect what's left. What about Miles? Miles is handling the company side. The loan documents are perfect. Adrian's signature, Adrian's authorization, clean paper trail. And if Adrian fights back? Men like Adrian don't fight legal battles. They negotiate. They compromise. They try to keep things civil for the family. My hands shook holding that recorder. 25 years of marriage, and my wife was discussing me like a business problem to be solved. The best part, Iris continued, is Adrian will blame himself. He'll think he failed as a husband, as a father. He'll hand over half just to avoid public humiliation. I sat in my truck outside that restaurant for 2 hours, replaying that conversation. Miles was involved. My son was helping plan my financial destruction. But what loan documents? What signature? Sunday morning, I called Maya. Sweetheart, can you meet me for coffee? I need your professional opinion on something. Maya arrived at our usual spot, Cornerstone Cafe on 5th Street. She looked tired. Her CPA firm had been busy with year-end audits. Long hours, lots of stress. But when she saw my face, her expression changed. Dad, you look terrible. What's wrong? I slid the recorder across the table. Listen to this. Tell me what you think. She put in earbuds. Press play. I watched her face change from concern to confusion to something that looked like fear. Dad, she said quietly, removing the earbuds. How long has this been going on? I don't know. I just found out Friday. Maya stared at the table for a long moment. Then she looked up at me with eyes that reminded me of her mother, the real mother I'd fallen in love with 25 years ago. Dad, there's something I need to tell you. I've been working on a personal project for the past 6 months. I think Miles is stealing from the company. The coffee shop noise faded to background static. What do you mean, stealing? Financial irregularities, loan applications with forged signatures, money moving through accounts that shouldn't exist. I've been documenting everything, but I wasn't sure how to tell you. Maya reached into her purse and pulled out a thick manila folder. Wells Fargo business account. $850,000 loan, approved 6 months ago. Your signature on all the documents. I opened the folder. There it was. My name, my social security number, my supposed authorization, except I'd never seen these papers before. Miles has access to company accounts, Maya continued. He processes loan applications, handles banking relationships. Dad, he's been forging your signature for months. The recorder conversation suddenly made sense. The loan documents are perfect. Adrian's signature, Adrian's authorization. My son hadn't just betrayed me. He'd committed felony fraud. Maya, why didn't you come to me sooner? Because I needed to be sure. Because I'm a CPA and I know how these investigations work. Because I love you too much to accuse family members without bulletproof evidence. She was protecting me. While my wife and son planned to destroy me, my daughter was quietly building a case to save me. Dad, Maya said, her voice barely above a whisper, the loan money is gone. Miles used it for cryptocurrency investments. Lost everything in the market crash last month. I stared at the forged documents. $850,000. Gone. Stolen by my own son. But the call that night changed everything I thought I knew about my family. Maya called at 11:47 p.m. I was still awake, staring at forged loan documents spread across my kitchen table like evidence at a crime scene. "Dad, you need to hear this," she said without preamble. "I've been recording Miles' phone calls for 3 weeks." "You've been what?" "Professional curiosity became personal investigation. Dad, it's worse than we thought." She played the recording over speakerphone, Miles's voice drunk and careless. "Mom, the crypto thing is a disaster. 850,000 gone. Dad's going to find out eventually." "That's why we're moving now," Iris replied. "Monday's filing gives us leverage. We claim financial irresponsibility, demand immediate asset division." "What if he fights?" "He won't. Adrian's too proud, too concerned about family reputation. Besides, we have insurance." "What kind of insurance?" "The kind that ensures Adrian cooperates. Trust me, Miles. Your father will hand over everything to protect what matters most." I felt cold. "Maya, what else do you have?" 6 months of documentation, bank records, forged loan applications, cryptocurrency transaction histories. Miles didn't just steal from the company. He's been embezzling for 2 years. 2 years? Small amounts at first. 50,000 here, 30,000 there. But after the first cryptocurrency success last year, he got greedy, started thinking in bigger numbers. Maya's voice carried the weight of professional certainty. As a CPA, she understood financial forensics better than most FBI agents. "Dad, Miles has stolen almost $1.1 million from Brooks Construction over 24 months. The number hit me like a sledgehammer. 1.1 million? And that's just what I can prove. There might be more. I sank into my kitchen chair. My wife was planning divorce to steal half our assets. My son had already stolen over $1 million. 25 years of building, and my family was systematically dismantling everything. There's more, Dad. More? The cryptocurrency losses weren't accidental. Miles was getting investment advice from someone named Derek Palmer. They've been planning this financial strategy for months. Who's Derek Palmer? Iris's divorce attorney. The pieces clicked into place like a perfectly engineered foundation. Iris's lawyer wasn't just handling divorce proceedings, he was actively involved in the financial conspiracy. This wasn't just family betrayal, this was organized crime. Maya, we need help. Professional help. Already on it. I've been consulting with a forensic accountant and a criminal attorney. Unofficially, of course, but Dad, you need to know something else. What? The loan documents aren't just forged, they're part of a larger pattern. Miles has been practicing your signature for years. Christmas cards, birthday notes, business documents. I found practice sheets in his desk. My son had been preparing to steal from me for years. While I taught him the construction business, he was learning to destroy it. Dad, there's one more thing. The timing isn't coincidental. Iris and Miles planned to file for divorce right after the cryptocurrency investments paid off. When those failed, they accelerated the timeline. You mean they're desperate? Desperate people make mistakes, and Miles has been making a lot of mistakes lately. I looked at the forged documents again. Sloppy work, really. My signature was close, but not perfect. The dates were wrong. I'd been out of town when these were supposedly signed. Any competent investigation would expose the fraud in hours. Maya, I need you to do something for me. Anything. Tomorrow morning, I want you to take all this evidence to the police, but first, I need to make some phone calls. Who are you calling? David Carter, my estate planning attorney. If Iris wants to play legal games, we're going to play by rules she doesn't understand. Dad, be careful. Desperate people do dangerous things. I know, sweetheart. But here's what your mother and brother don't understand. I didn't build this company by being careful. I built it by being smarter than the competition. After I hung up, I sat in my kitchen until dawn, planning my counterattack. Iris thought she was playing chess. Miles thought he was playing poker. But Maya had just given me evidence to flip the entire board. David Carter has been my estate planning attorney for 15 years. Former Marine, sharp as a bayonet, never lost a case involving family trusts. When I called him at 6:30 a.m. Friday, he answered on the first ring. Adrian, it's barely sunrise. What's wrong? David, I need that family trust active within 72 hours. The irrevocable trust? Adrian, we discussed this last year. Once it's activated, you can't change your mind. Assets are permanently protected, but they're also permanently restricted. I understand. How fast can you move? Silence on the other end. David's been handling family crises long enough to recognize desperation. What's happened? My family is planning to destroy me financially. I need asset protection now. Where are you? Home. Stay there. I'm coming over. And David arrived 45 minutes later, briefcase in hand, looking like he was preparing for war. We sat in my study, surrounded by 25 years of business documents and family photos. Tell me everything, he said. I played Maya's recordings, showed him the forged loan documents, explained the divorce timeline and the cryptocurrency losses. David took notes in his precise handwriting, occasionally asking for clarification. Adrian, he said finally, this isn't just divorce. This is conspiracy to commit fraud, possibly federal crimes. Can the trust protect the assets? That depends. How much are we protecting? 14.2 million in personal assets, 18 million in company valuation. David smiled. Not a happy smile, a predatory smile. Adrian, there's something I need to tell you about that trust we set up last year. What trust? The Brooks Family Irrevocable Trust, created in 2022, funded with nominal assets, designed to receive major funding upon activation. David, we never activated any trust. Actually, we did. You signed the activation papers 18 months ago, right after Miles joined the company full-time. My memory was blank. I don't remember signing anything. David opened his briefcase and pulled out a thick folder. Review meeting March 15th, 2022. You were concerned about succession planning and asset protection. Said you wanted safeguards in place just in case. He handed me documents with my signature. Real signature, not forged. Legal documents properly witnessed and notarized. David, why don't I remember this? Because it was routine estate planning, boring legal stuff. You signed 23 pages that day, including trust activation, successor trustee appointments, and asset protection clauses. I stared at the papers. My signature, my authorization, my decision. What exactly did I sign? An irrevocable trust with criminal background check requirements for all beneficiaries. Any family member convicted of fraud, embezzlement, or financial crimes automatically forfeits their inheritance rights. Criminal background check? Your idea, actually. You said, David, I want to make sure this money goes to people who deserve it, not people who steal it. The room felt like it was spinning. I'd protected myself 18 months ago without realizing it. But David, the trust is empty. Nominal funding, you said. Nominal initial funding. But the activation trigger allows for emergency asset transfer in cases of imminent financial threat to the grantor's welfare. Your current situation qualifies perfectly. I mean we can transfer all $14.2 million into trust protection within 72 hours. Completely legal, completely bulletproof. And if Miles has been committing financial crimes, then he's automatically disqualified from inheritance under the criminal background clause. His share reverts to other beneficiaries, namely Maya. I felt something I hadn't felt in days. Hope. What about Iris? Divorce doesn't affect trust assets. She can claim half of community property, but trust assets are separate property, protected from creditors, lawsuits, and ex-wives. David started making phone calls, bank transfers, legal notifications, trust administration. Within 6 hours, every major asset was moving into protected status. Adrian, David said as he packed up his briefcase, there's one more thing. What? The trust includes provisions for investigation of potential crimes against trust assets. If Miles has been stealing from the company, the trust can fund criminal prosecution. You mean we can press charges? We can do more than press charges. We can hire private investigators, forensic accountants, and federal prosecutors, all paid for by trust funds specifically designated for asset protection. That evening I called Maya. Sweetheart, bring all your evidence to my office tomorrow morning. It's time to involve law enforcement. Dad, are you sure? Once we file criminal charges, there's no going back. Maya, they crossed that line months ago. I'm just finally catching up. But I wasn't prepared for what Maya discovered next. Dad, she said quietly, I found something else. Miles didn't just forge loan documents. He's been creating fake invoices, phantom employees, ghost contractors. The embezzlement goes back 3 years, not 2. How much total? Close to $2 million. $2 million. Stolen by my own son. While I was teaching him the business, he was robbing it blind. Dad, there's something else. I think Iris has been involved from the beginning. But what happened next proved that even my worst fears were underestimating my family's capacity for betrayal. Saturday morning, 8 a.m. I called a family meeting. Iris, Miles, Maya, kitchen table, coffee brewing, the illusion of normal family breakfast, except I had 6 hours of recordings, forensic evidence, and a trust fund that had just made me untouchable. We need to talk, I announced. Iris looked up from her phone. About what? About the divorce papers you're filing Monday. The temperature in the room dropped 20 degrees. Miles stopped chewing his toast. Maya sat perfectly still, recording everything on her phone. Adrian, Iris said carefully, I don't know what you're talking about. I placed the digital recorder on the table. Play track 3, Maya. Iris's voice filled the kitchen. The papers are ready. Adrian won't see it coming. Miles went pale. Iris stared at the recorder like it was a snake. That's illegal, Miles stammered. You can't record people without consent. California one-party consent law, Maya replied. Dad can record any conversation he's part of. But this gets better. She opened her laptop and displayed bank records. Wells Fargo business account. $850,000 loan. Forged signature. Want to explain this, Miles? I can explain, Miles said, but his voice cracked. Really? Explain how you forged Dad's signature. Explain where the money went. Explain the cryptocurrency losses. Dad, I was trying to help the company. Crypto was supposed to be profitable. I was going to pay it back. You were going to pay back money you stole? I didn't steal anything. I'm family. I'm your son. Sons don't forge their father's signature, I said quietly. Miles stood up abruptly. This is insane. Dad, you're having some kind of breakdown. Mom, tell him. Iris finally spoke. Adrian, maybe we should all calm down. There might be misunderstandings here. Misunderstandings? I played another recording, Iris's voice. Adrian will blame himself. He'll think he failed as a husband, as a father. How long have you been planning this, Iris? Planning what? Adrian, you're being paranoid. 6 months of divorce preparation, 2 years of embezzlement, 3 years of signature forgery. That's not paranoia. That's documentation. Maya opened another file. Ghost employees, Dad. Miles has been paying salary to people who don't exist. Michael Thompson, Sarah Williams, David Johnson. Fake social security numbers, fake addresses, real paychecks. That's impossible, Iris protested. It's brilliant, actually, Maya continued. Payroll company processes everything automatically. Money goes to accounts controlled by Miles. Clean books, dirty money. I looked at my son. How much total, Miles? Dad, I can explain everything. How much? Miles deflated like a punctured tire. Maybe close to 2 million. But Dad, I was going to... $2 million. The number hung in the air like smoke from an explosion. Iris stood up slowly. Adrian, you have no idea what you've started. Actually, Iris, I know exactly what I've started. Maya, show them the trust documents. Maya placed official legal papers on the table. Brooks Family Irrevocable Trust, activated 72 hours ago. All major assets now protected from creditors, lawsuits, and divorce proceedings. That's impossible, Iris whispered. Criminal background check clause, Maya continued. Any beneficiary convicted of financial crimes automatically forfeits inheritance rights. Miles was breathing heavily. You can't cut me out. I'm your son. You cut yourself out when you started stealing from me. Dad, please, I made mistakes, but I'm family. Blood is blood. Blood doesn't forge signatures, Miles. Iris grabbed her purse. I'm calling my lawyer. Call him, I said. Tell Derek Palmer his cryptocurrency investment advice is about to become Exhibit A in a criminal conspiracy case. Iris froze. How do you know Derek's name? Because Maya's been recording your phone calls for 3 weeks. The silence stretched like a breaking cable. Dad, Miles said desperately, what do you want? How do we fix this? You don't fix $2 million in theft, son. You pay the consequences. Are you pressing charges? Iris asked. That's not my decision anymore. The trust fund has legal obligations to investigate crimes against trust assets. I'm just the grantor now. Maya closed her laptop. Mom, Dad, Miles, you should know that I've already contacted the FBI's white-collar crime unit. They're very interested in the mail fraud implications. Mail fraud? Miles looked confused. Forged bank documents sent through the postal system. Federal crime. 20 years maximum sentence. Miles sat down hard. 20 years? That's just the federal charges. State charges for embezzlement, fraud, and forgery add another 15 years. Iris was staring at me with an expression I'd never seen before. Pure rage mixed with something that looked like fear. You think you're so smart, Adrian. You think you've won. I think I've protected what I spent 25 years building. There are things you don't know, things that will destroy you. Such as? You'll find out Monday morning. She walked toward the door, then turned back. Miles, come with me. Mom, maybe we should... Now! Miles followed her out, leaving me alone with Maya. Dad, she said quietly, what do you think she meant? I don't know, but I have a feeling we're about to find out. 2 days later, police arrived at my door with an arrest warrant. Monday morning, 7:23 a.m. Doorbell rings like an alarm clock. I open the door to find 2 police officers and a woman in a business suit. Adrian Brooks? Yes. Detective Johnson, LAPD, this is Agent Martinez from the District Attorney's Office. You're under arrest for domestic violence and financial elder abuse. The handcuffs clicked like a trap snapping shut. They read me my rights while my neighbors watched from their driveways. 25 years of reputation destroyed in 30 seconds. The charges were creative. Domestic violence, based on Iris's sworn statement that I'd threatened her during Saturday's confrontation. Financial elder abuse, based on Miles' claim that I'd manipulated him into signing fraudulent documents. My son isn't elderly, I told the detective. Mental impairment qualifies under California law. Your son claims you exploited his gambling addiction to cover your own embezzlement. Gambling addiction. Embezzlement. The story was completely inverted. I was the criminal. Miles was the victim. David Carter arrived at the police station before I'd finished processing. Don't say anything, Adrian. Not one word. David, this is insane. It's strategic. They're trying to discredit you before the trust fund investigation gains momentum. 6 hours later, I was released on $50,000 bail. Restraining order preventing contact with Iris or Miles. Court date scheduled for the following month. David, how is this possible? False reporting is a crime, but proving it requires evidence. Right now, it's your word against theirs. We have recordings, which they claim were obtained illegally and edited for malicious purposes. That night, Maya called. Dad, there's something you need to know. Rachel Turner wants to meet with you. Who's Rachel Turner? FBI white-collar crime unit. She's been investigating financial fraud cases in Southern California. Apparently, my documentation caught their attention. The FBI? Dad, what we uncovered isn't just family drama. It's part of a larger pattern. Miles isn't the only person Derek Palmer has been advising on cryptocurrency investments. What do you mean? Palmer's been running a scheme. Wealthy clients, cryptocurrency advice, guaranteed returns. When the investments fail, he helps them steal from family assets to cover losses. You're saying Miles was part of a larger conspiracy? I'm saying Miles was a victim too, until he became a perpetrator. Tuesday morning, I met Rachel Turner at a coffee shop in downtown LA. Former FBI, now private investigator specializing in financial crimes. Sharp eyes, direct questions, no nonsense. Mr. Brooks, your daughter provided us with excellent documentation, but we need more to make federal charges stick. What kind of more? Recorded confessions, wire transfers, evidence of interstate communication about the fraud. How do we get that? Rachel smiled, the same predatory smile David had shown me days earlier. We set up a sting operation. Meaning you wear a wire. Have one more family conversation. Get Miles and Iris to confess their crimes, on tape. They won't trust me anymore. They will if you offer them what they want. Which is half the trust fund in exchange for dropping the criminal charges. The plan was elegant. I would contact Iris, claim the legal pressure was too much, offer to negotiate, split the assets 50-50 if she withdrew the domestic violence charges. Desperate times, desperate measures. Rachel, what if they don't take the bait? Mr. Brooks, greedy people always take the bait. The question is whether you're brave enough to offer it. Wednesday afternoon, I called Iris. We need to talk. Adrian, the restraining order will hop up. I know, but I want to make a deal. Silence. Then, what kind of deal? 50-50 split. You drop the charges, I split the trust fund. The trust fund is protected. Not if I dissolve it voluntarily. David found a loophole. More silence. Where do you want to meet? Pacific Bay Restaurant, Thursday, 2 p.m. Bring Miles. Adrian, if this is some kind of trap. Iris, I'm facing criminal charges and financial ruin. I don't have the energy for traps. Thursday, 1:45 p.m. I sat in Pacific Bay Restaurant wearing a wire that felt like it was burning through my shirt. Rachel Turner was 3 tables away, pretending to work on her laptop. Maya was in the parking lot, recording backup audio. Iris arrived first, looking nervous. Miles followed 5 minutes later, constantly checking his phone. Adrian, Iris said, sliding into the booth, you look terrible. I feel terrible. These charges are destroying me. You brought this on yourself, Miles said. All that paranoid surveillance, threatening family members. I was protecting myself. From what? From family? This was my moment. From discovering how badly you'd been stealing from me. Miles leaned forward. I wasn't stealing. I was borrowing $850,000. I was going to pay it back. With what money? Derek said the crypto would recover. Said I could triple the investment in 6 months. Rachel had told me to push for details. Derek Palmer has been giving you investment advice for how long? 2 years, Miles replied. He's brilliant. Made millions for other clients. Other clients? Rich families, people with assets to protect. Derek helps them redistribute funds during difficult times. Iris kicked Miles under the table. Miles, shut up. But Miles was nervous, talking fast. Dad, Derek said this was normal. Said rich families always have internal disputes about money. Said we were just claiming what we deserved. And the forged signatures? Derek said family signatures weren't really forgery. Said it was like having power of attorney. Miles, Iris hissed, stop talking. But he couldn't stop. And the fake employees thing, Derek set that up. Said it was a tax strategy. Said lots of companies do it. I had enough. More than enough. But Rachel had whispered one final instruction. Get them to admit the mail fraud. The bank documents you sent, were those Derek's idea too? Everything was Derek's idea, Miles exploded. The crypto investments, the loan applications, the fake payroll, even the divorce timing. He planned everything. Miles, Iris stood up abruptly. We're leaving. But Mom, Dad's offering to split everything, 50-50. There is no 50-50, you idiot. Adrian recorded this entire conversation. She'd figured it out. But it was too late. Agent Martinez stepped out of the kitchen. FBI, Miles Brooks and Iris Brooks, you're under arrest for conspiracy to commit mail fraud. Miles looked confused. Mail fraud? Forged documents sent through the postal system, Agent Martinez explained. Federal crime. But thanks to your confessions, we now have enough evidence to prosecute Derek Palmer for running a multi-million-dollar fraud operation. As they handcuffed Miles, he looked at me with something that might have been relief. Dad, I'm sorry. I'm really sorry. But the biggest surprise was still coming. The FBI sting operation uncovered something none of us expected. Derek Palmer wasn't just advising wealthy families on cryptocurrency investments. He was running a sophisticated financial fraud network targeting inheritance assets across Southern California. Mr. Brooks, Agent Martinez explained in her FBI office, your son was client number 17 in Palmer's operation. We've identified 43 families who lost a combined $18 million through this scheme. $18 million? Palmer would identify wealthy families with succession planning issues, target the adult children, offer cryptocurrency investment advice, then help them steal from family assets to fund the investments. When the investments failed, which they were designed to do, Palmer would take his commission and move on. So Miles was a victim? Initially, but when he started forging signatures and creating fake employees, he became a co-conspirator. Rachel Turner sat across from us, reviewing files. Adrian, there's something else. The domestic violence charges against you were part of Palmer's standard playbook. Create legal pressure on the family patriarch, force negotiated settlements that favor the conspirators. You're saying this was all calculated? Every step, the divorce timing, the cryptocurrency losses, even the false criminal charges. Palmer has used this exact sequence with 16 other families. Maya spoke up from her chair. Dad, there's something I haven't told you yet. What now? I didn't stumble across Miles' financial crimes by accident. I was contacted by someone from Palmer's previous victims. They recognized the pattern and asked me to investigate. Who contacted you? Patricia Hoffman. Her son stole $2 million from their family restaurant business using Palmer's advice. Same methods, same timeline, same cryptocurrency story. The room felt like it was spinning again. Maya, how long have you known about this? 6 months. But Dad, I had to be careful. If Palmer suspected we were onto him, he would have destroyed evidence and disappeared. We needed ironclad proof before moving. Agent Martinez nodded. Your daughter's investigation provided the foundation for our federal case. Without her documentation, Palmer would have stolen from dozens more families. Where's Palmer now? Federal custody, charged with 18 counts of mail fraud, conspiracy to commit fraud, and running a criminal enterprise. He's looking at life in prison. Relief should have flooded through me. Instead, I felt empty. My family had been destroyed by a criminal I'd never met. What about Iris and Miles? Your wife faces federal conspiracy charges, 5 to 10 years. Miles could cooperate with prosecution and receive reduced sentence, probably 2 to 3 years, plus restitution. Restitution? The embezzled funds, plus interest and penalties, about $2.4 million total. Maya leaned forward. Dad, there's more good news. The trust fund protections worked perfectly. Not only are the assets safe, but the criminal background clause automatically activated. Miles forfeits all inheritance rights, and his share reverts to other beneficiaries. Meaning? Meaning Maya inherits everything Miles would have received, Agent Martinez explained. Your estate planning attorney was remarkably prescient. That evening, I sat in my kitchen, staring at the same table where I'd discovered my family's betrayal a week earlier. Maya brought Chinese takeout and sat across from me. Dad, how are you feeling? Relieved, exhausted, angry, grateful, all at the same time. I know this is hard. Maya, can I ask you something? Anything. When you were investigating Miles, did you ever think about warning him? Giving him a chance to stop before it went too far? She considered the question carefully. Every day. But Dad, Miles made dozens of decisions over 3 years. Forging signatures, creating fake employees, stealing from company accounts. Each decision was a choice to continue hurting you. He's still my son, and you're still his father. But being family doesn't excuse criminal behavior. It makes it worse. The Miles I raised wouldn't have done these things. The Miles you raised was influenced by Derek Palmer for 2 years. Palmer specifically targets young adults from wealthy families, exploits their entitlement issues, teaches them to justify theft as claiming what they deserve. You think Miles can recover from this? I think prison might be the best thing for Miles. He needs to face real consequences, understand that actions have permanent results, learn to rebuild his life through honest work. We ate in silence for a while. Then Maya said something that changed my perspective entirely. Dad, you know what the saddest part is? What? If Miles had just asked for help with gambling debts or investment losses, you would have helped him. You would have paid off everything, got him treatment, supported his recovery. She was right. I would have written a check for $2 million without hesitation if my son had been honest with me. Instead, he chose to steal, lie, and destroy our family because Palmer taught him that wealthy parents owe their children immediate access to inheritance money. Palmer convinced dozens of kids that theft was actually justice. What happens to the other families? Some are recovering, others are permanently destroyed. The Hoffmans lost their restaurant, the Changs lost their medical practice, the Washingtons lost their construction business. Palmer destroyed entire families. Palmer is a predator, but Dad, the children who worked with him made choices too. They chose theft over honesty. They chose manipulation over communication. I pushed fried rice around my plate, thinking about choice and consequences. Maya, what happens now? Now you rebuild. The company is safe, the assets are protected, and you have a daughter who wants to help you create something positive from this disaster. Such as? Brooks Construction and Development has always built houses. Maybe it's time to start building something bigger. Like what? Like a foundation to help families recover from financial fraud. Like a nonprofit that teaches financial literacy to young adults. Like a legacy that means something beyond just money. It was a beautiful idea. But first, I had to survive the realization that the people I'd trusted most had been planning my destruction for years. Dad, Maya said gently, there's one more thing you should know. I'm not sure I can handle any more revelations. This one's good news. David Carter didn't just protect your assets with the trust fund. He also documented everything Palmer's network did to other families. The FBI is using his legal strategy as a model for protecting future victims. Meaning the trust structure you created is going to save other families from going through what we experienced. Sometimes the worst betrayal leads to the most meaningful protection. 2 weeks after the arrests, David Carter called with news that changed everything again. Adrian, you need to know something about that trust fund. What now, David? The criminal background check clause wasn't my idea. It was yours. I told you I don't remember suggesting that. That's because you didn't suggest it. You insisted on it. We met at his office that afternoon. David pulled out files from our March 2022 meeting, not just the signing documents, but his handwritten notes from our conversation. Look at this, Adrian. Your exact words. David, I want ironclad protection against family members who might commit crimes against the trust. If anyone steals from this family, they should lose everything. I said that? You were very specific. Said you'd heard stories about wealthy families destroyed by internal theft. Said you wanted criminal background checks written into the trust language as an automatic disqualification. David turned to another page. You also insisted on provisions for investigation funding. Said if anyone committed crimes against trust assets, the trust should have resources to prosecute them aggressively. Why don't I remember any of this? Because it was routine estate planning conversation for you. But Adrian, you were remarkably prescient, almost like you sensed what was coming. Or maybe I knew my family better than I wanted to admit. Maybe, but there's something else. The trust also includes provisions for helping other families facing similar situations. What kind of provisions? Educational funding, legal assistance, investigative support. Essentially, you created a foundation to combat family financial fraud before you knew such fraud was targeting your family. I stared at the documents, my signature, my authorization, my apparent foresight. David, what did I know that I didn't know I knew? Maybe you just understood that money changes people, that wealth creates temptation, that family trust needs legal reinforcement. That evening, Rachel Turner called with an update on the Palmer investigation. Adrian, we've arrested 12 more co-conspirators in Palmer's network. The evidence Maya provided was the key to unraveling the entire operation. 12 more? Financial advisors, cryptocurrency brokers, family attorneys. This was a sophisticated criminal enterprise targeting wealthy families across Southern California. How many families were affected? 63 families, total losses exceeding $40 million. But here's the remarkable part. Your trust structure is being studied by estate planning attorneys nationwide as a model for preventing family financial fraud. You mean other families are using similar protections? Exactly. David Carter has received over 200 inquiries from attorneys requesting template language for criminal background check clauses in family trusts. So something positive is coming from this disaster? Adrian, your situation has probably prevented thousands of other families from experiencing similar betrayals. The next morning, Maya called with her own news. Dad, I've been thinking about our conversation regarding foundations and legacies. And? I want to quit my accounting firm and come work for Brooks Construction full time. Maya, you have a great career. I have a job, but I want to be part of something bigger. I want to help rebuild the company and create the foundation we discussed. You're sure? Dad, watching Palmer's victims testify at his sentencing hearing changed my perspective. These families lost everything because they didn't have protection systems in place. We can help prevent that. How? Financial literacy education for young adults from wealthy families, legal assistance for families facing internal fraud, investigation support for complex financial crimes. That sounds expensive. Oh, the trust fund generates enough income to support significant charitable activities. And Dad, there's something else. The FBI is recommending our family for a substantial reward from the Federal Financial Crimes Victims Fund. How substantial? $3 million. Palmer's criminal enterprise stole over $40 million, and federal law provides rewards for victims who help expose large financial crimes. $3 million? Which we can use to seed the foundation operations. That afternoon, I drove through the neighborhood where I'd started Brooks Construction 25 years earlier. Small houses, working families, people building something real with their teens and their hopes. Maya was right. We could build something bigger than just a construction company, something that helped families protect themselves from the kind of predators who had nearly destroyed us. But first, I had to confront the hardest part, saying goodbye to the son I thought I knew. Miles's sentencing hearing was scheduled for Thursday morning, federal courthouse downtown. I debated whether to attend. Maya insisted I should go. Dad, closure isn't just for you. Miles needs to see that you still exist, that his choices didn't completely destroy you. I don't know what to say to him. You don't have to say anything, just be present. Judge Catherine Morrison presided over the hearing. Federal courtroom, wood paneling, American flag, the weight of permanent consequences. Miles sat at the defendant's table in an orange jumpsuit, looking smaller than I'd ever seen him. His attorney, a public defender named James Walsh, spoke first. Your Honor, Miles Brooks was a victim before he became a perpetrator. Derek Palmer specifically targeted young adults from wealthy families, exploited their psychological vulnerabilities, taught them to rationalize theft as justice. Nevertheless, Judge Morrison replied, Mr. Brooks made dozens of criminal choices over 3 years. Forgery, embezzlement, mail fraud, conspiracy. These aren't momentary lapses in judgment. The prosecutor, Assistant U.S. Attorney Sandra Chen, was less sympathetic. Your Honor, Miles Brooks stole over $2 million from his father's company, created fake employees, forged signatures, participated in a criminal conspiracy that defrauded 63 families. The damage extends far beyond financial losses. Mr. Brooks, Judge Morrison addressed Miles directly, do you have anything to say before sentencing? Miles stood slowly. Your Honor, I want to apologize to my father and my sister. I want to apologize to the other families who were hurt by Derek Palmer's scheme. I know I can't undo what I did, but I want to spend the rest of my life trying to make up for it. He turned toward the gallery and looked directly at me. Dad, I'm sorry. I'm sorry I stole from you. I'm sorry I betrayed your trust. I'm sorry I destroyed our family. You didn't deserve any of this. Tears ran down his face. Real tears, not manipulation. Maybe the first genuine emotion I'd seen from him in years. Your Honor, Miles continued, I want to cooperate fully with ongoing investigations. I want to help the FBI identify other victims. I want to pay back every dollar I stole, even if it takes the rest of my life. Judge Morrison reviewed the sentencing guidelines. Mr. Brooks, You've pleaded guilty to federal mail fraud and conspiracy charges. The sentencing range is 36 to 60 months. However, your cooperation with federal investigators and your lack of prior criminal history warrant consideration. She paused, looking directly at Miles. I'm sentencing you to 36 months in federal prison, followed by 3 years supervised probation. You will pay full restitution of $2.4 million to Brooks Construction and Development. You will continue cooperating with federal investigations into financial fraud targeting wealthy families. Thank you, Your Honor, Miles whispered. As the bailiff led Miles away, he looked at me one more time. No words, just eye contact that carried 25 years of father-son history. Outside the courthouse, Maya and I sat on the steps, watching Los Angeles traffic flow past like a river of other people's normal lives. How do you feel, Dad? Relieved, sad, angry, grateful, all at the same time. That's normal. Is it? I don't know what normal is anymore. Normal is rebuilding. Normal is moving forward. Normal is creating something positive from a terrible experience. That afternoon, we met with David Carter to finalize the foundation structure. Brooks Family Foundation, dedicated to preventing financial fraud against families and providing recovery assistance to victims. Adrian, David said, you're creating something unprecedented. A foundation funded by the same trust structure that protected you from the crimes it's designed to prevent. It feels right. It is right. And there's something else you should know. The FBI wants to hire the foundation as a consultant on family financial fraud cases. Meaning? Meaning you and Maya would help other families facing similar situations, provide expert guidance on asset protection, investigation strategies, legal procedures. We'd be helping other families avoid what we went through? Exactly. Maya leaned forward. Dad, I've been researching. There are hundreds of families across the country dealing with internal financial fraud. Adult children stealing from elderly parents, spouses hiding assets during divorce, business partners embezzling from family companies. And most of them don't have the resources we had to fight back. Right. They don't have forensic accounting expertise, don't have connections to FBI investigators, don't have estate planning attorneys who think ahead, don't have trust structures that protect against family crimes. So we become their resources. We become their advocates. That evening, I drove to the construction site where Brooks Construction was building affordable housing for young families. Honest work, legitimate business, people who earned their homes through labor and hope. Maya called as I watched the sunset over half-finished foundations. Dad, I have news. Derek Palmer was sentenced this afternoon. Life in prison without parole. Life? Racketeering, mail fraud, conspiracy to defraud, running a criminal enterprise. He destroyed 63 families over 5 years. The judge said Palmer represented the worst kind of predator. Someone who weaponizes family trust to commit financial crimes. What about Iris? 5 years federal prison, full restitution to trust fund assets. She'll be eligible for parole in 3 years. And our family? Our family is you and me now, Dad. Maya and Adrian Brooks. And we're going to help other families stay together when predators try to tear them apart. I looked at the construction site, thinking about foundations and structures, and things built to last. Sometimes losing a family teaches you how to build a better one. 6 months later, Brooks Family Foundation had helped 17 families recover from internal financial fraud. Maya had developed investigation protocols now used by FBI field offices nationwide. I had testified before Congress about the need for stronger legal protections against family financial crimes. But the biggest surprise came from David Carter's office on a Tuesday morning in March. Adrian, I need to tell you something about the trust fund criminal background check clause. What about it? It wasn't just inspired by your foresight. It was actually modeled after a similar trust structure I'd created for another client who experienced family financial fraud. You mean other families have faced this same situation? Many families. Adrian, what you experienced isn't unusual. It's an epidemic. Wealthy families being targeted by criminal networks that exploit family relationships to steal generational wealth. David opened a thick file. I've been documenting cases for 15 years. Palmer's network was just one of dozens operating across the country. Dozens? Conservative estimate. The FBI believes there are over 200 Derek Palmers operating in various states, targeting families with assets over $1 million. 200 criminal networks? Family financial fraud is now a billion-dollar criminal industry. Your case helped expose the scope of the problem. Maya joined our meeting, carrying her own files. Dad, that's why the foundation work is so important. We're not just helping individual families, we're fighting an entire criminal ecosystem. Have we made a difference? Look at these statistics, Maya said, opening her laptop. Before Palmer's arrest, his network was stealing an average of $2 million per month from Southern California families. Since his prosecution, similar networks have moved operations to other states where legal protections are weaker. So we're winning? We're learning how to fight back. And Dad, there's something else. The trust structure you created has been replicated by over 500 families nationwide. Those families are now protected against the exact crimes that Palmer's network was committing. David smiled. Adrian, you've essentially created a legal vaccine against family financial fraud. A vaccine? Trust structures with criminal background check clauses, automatic investigation funding, asset protection protocols. Families who implement these protections are immunized against internal financial crimes. That afternoon, I received a call that changed everything one final time. Mr. Brooks, this is Patricia Hoffman. My family was one of Palmer's victims before yours. Mrs. Hoffman, how can I help you? I want to thank you. Your foundation provided legal assistance that helped us recover our restaurant business. But more importantly, your trust structure prevented my younger son from following the same path as your son. What do you mean? After Palmer was arrested, we discovered that my younger son, David, had been approached by one of Palmer's associates. They wanted him to steal from our recovery funds using the same methods Palmer taught your son. But the trust protection stopped him? The criminal background check clause made him realize that theft would cost him everything permanently. He chose to get help for his gambling addiction instead of committing crimes to fund it. So the trust structure actually prevented a crime? It saved my family from being destroyed twice. Mr. Brooks, you didn't just protect your assets. You protected my children's futures. After I hung up, I sat in my office surrounded by 25 years of construction photos, business awards, and family memories. Most of the family photos were gone now, packed away or thrown out after the trials and sentences. But new photos were appearing, Maya and me at foundation events, families we'd helped rebuild their lives, FBI agents receiving training on family financial fraud, congressional hearings where our testimony helped pass stronger consumer protection laws. I'd started with nothing in 1999, built a multi-million-dollar company by 2025, lost my wife and son to criminal conspiracy, rebuilt my family with Maya and our shared mission. The trust fund hadn't just protected my money, it had protected my capacity to help others. 2 years after the trials, I stood in the conference room of Brooks Construction and Development, looking out at the team Maya and I had assembled. Maya served as Chief Financial Officer and Foundation Director. Our new VP of Operations was Patricia Hoffman's daughter, Sarah, a Harvard MBA who understood both business strategy and family trauma. Dad, Maya said, reviewing quarterly reports, we need to talk about expansion. What kind of expansion? Brooks Family Foundation has received requests for assistance from families in 42 states. We can't handle the volume with current staffing. How many requests? Over 800 families in the past 6 months. The average loss per family is $1.4 million. We're looking at over $1 billion in family financial fraud nationwide. The numbers were staggering. But they represented more than statistics. They represented thousands of parents like me, discovering that their children had been stealing from them. Maya, what do you recommend? partnership with law enforcement agencies, collaboration with estate planning attorneys, certification programs for financial advisors. We turned the foundation into a national resource center. That sounds expensive. The trust fund income supports it. Plus, Congress is considering legislation to fund victim assistance programs for family financial fraud. We could receive significant federal grants. That evening, I drove through my old neighborhood again. The same route I'd traveled 25 years earlier as a struggling carpenter with big dreams. Except now, I was a man who'd built something, lost something, and rebuilt something bigger. Maya called as I parked outside our first office, a rented garage where Brooks Construction had started. "Dad, I have news! Miles called the foundation office today." Miles called from prison? He's being released next month. 3 years served, good behavior, full cooperation with ongoing investigations. What did he want? To volunteer. He wants to help other families avoid the path he took. Wants to speak at educational seminars about how financial predators target young adults from wealthy families. What do you think? I think redemption requires action, not just apology. If Miles is serious about making amends, he needs to spend his life helping prevent other families from experiencing what he put us through. And if he's not serious, then the criminal background check clause ensures he gets nothing from the trust fund, and we continue our work without him. I looked at the garage where everything had started, thinking about second chances and earned forgiveness. Maya, tell Miles he can volunteer for the foundation, but he starts at the bottom, earns trust through work, proves his commitment through service. And if he proves himself, then maybe families can heal, even after betrayal. Sometimes the worst family crisis creates the strongest family foundation. If this story reminds you of someone who needs asset protection, share it with them. If you've experienced family betrayal, comment your state. I want to know whether your laws protect families like ours. And subscribe if you want to hear more stories about justice, winning against greed. Sometimes losing the family you thought you had helps you build the family you actually need.